for joining us here at Bright Alerts. You know, Dinesh, you and I have a long history together. I mean, this all started 8 years ago. We were starting to think about something called Obama's America. Now we're on Hillary's America, and you've had such a successful run with Hillary's America. Open July 15th, opening weekend, $3.7 million, top 10 in the weekend. The New York Times for the 8th week in a row, 7th, it's on the best-seller list. This is incredible. Were you expecting, once again, to have this type of reception for a film that basically tells the truth about what's going on in politics today?
Well, I think the success of the film and the movie shows that there's a big appetite for the goods on Hillary. Here's a woman who has covered up her tracks, and although the government, the FBI, the Department of Justice should have been after her, they abstained. And they abstained in part because Hillary is enmeshed within the system, and partly because Obama has signaled to Comey and to Loretta Lynch, hands off Hillary. So the indictment that the FBI hasn't made, we make. We make it in the movie, and in a way the American people are sitting in the jury box in November. I think that it's going to have to come through the democratic process.
Well, right now, people are talking about the debates. That's the big question. And there's nobody that knows better where Hillary's weaknesses is on these debates than you. I mean, you made a movie about it. What would be your advice right now to Donald Trump getting ready for the debates? Where do you consider to be Hillary's weakest points that, more importantly, the American people will resonate and they'll be able to understand why this type of corruption affects their everyday life?
I think the first thing that Trump has to do he's got to convey that he himself is a stable and serious guy. In other words, that he's not crazy. Now, this isn't an attack on Trump. Reagan had to do the same thing. In 1980, people said, Reagan's a cowboy, he's going to blow up the world, he's going to itchy trigger finger, there goes the universe. And Reagan had to convey, look, that's all nonsense. I'm not going to do that. Just because I'm independent-minded, I speak my mind. So Trump needs to convey that sense of security. But apart from that, I think he needs to take the battle to Hillary, and that means exposing her corruption, hitting her with concrete facts, and then I think attacking the whole bigoted legacy of the Democratic Party. It's a no-lose issue for him because there's no defense. The Democrats have covered up their tracks, and because they've covered up their tracks in academia and the media, this kind of information has shock value. It's a little bit like, is that true? Because if true, it has serious implications. So the movie and the book actually provide a lot of intellectual and historical ammunition for Trump, if he'll use it.
Is there a chance for Republicans, it doesn't matter who you are, what color your skin is, if you say you're a Republican, automatically you're demonized as being a racist. Will there ever be a chance for race to be taken out of a political contention like this, where Republicans can actually have a debate and not be automatically charged as being racist if they're going up against a Democrat?
Well, the truth of it is the best way to get race out of politics is to take the whole stain of racism and stick it right on the Democratic Party. The moment you do that, they'll take it right off the table. So right now, for example, right on social media, when we talk about the Democratic Party as the party of slavery, the left is saying, why are you bringing up all that old stuff that happened 200 years ago? Suddenly, it's a non-issue for them. Why? Because they're bearing the burden of it. And on we go to segregation, the Ku Klux Klan, lynching. I mean, the tens of thousands of people killed by the Klan, all killed by Democrats. So the Democrats have this sordid legacy. They've never acknowledged it. So I think if Trump puts Hillary up against the wall and just goes, listen, will you admit that you're the party of slavery and segregation and Jim Crow? You're the people who blocked women from getting the right to vote. You're the people who tried to block the Civil Rights Act of '64 by killing it with gender amendments. Will you acknowledge that this is what your party did? Isn't this your party's history? And I think it's very difficult for the Democrats to say history doesn't matter. That was all really old stuff. And because then Trump can hit back by showing that a lot of things that Hillary is doing and the Democrats are doing today with the urban plantation are kind of continuous with the exploitation they've done in the past.
Last question. A lot of people right now are talking about this October surprise. You've studied Hillary Clinton's past. You've studied all of the things involved with the Clinton administration. What do you think do you think there's such a thing as this October surprise, and what area do you think it's going to focus on?
I think the biggest October surprise would be if it was revealed that Hillary Clinton did something that was not for her own benefit. In other words, she said something honest, she did something nice, and she had nothing to gain out of it. That would be a huge October surprise. I don't think there's going to be that kind of October surprise, but I also think Republicans shouldn't count on these surprises, let alone to have other people do our work for us. For a long time, we're like, let's cross our fingers and wait for James Comey, wait for that indictment. That's really going to change. No, they're not going to do our work for us. We have to do our work for us.
Well, we here at Right Alerts want to continue this conversation. Mark your questions right now. You guys are great online of sitting your questions. Go on and keep registering. I know that I will read them. I'll pass the good ones on to Dinesh. Maybe we might be able to continue this conversation here at RightAlerts.com. Thanks for joining us. And hey, if you've not seen Hillary's America, it's coming out. I'm hearing things that it's going to be coming out on where you can rent it at home.
Well, it is in the theater now.
Right.
And Hillary's America, the movie.com, that's the website. Put in your zip code. It'll tell you if it's playing near you and where. In a month, 1 month before the election, in October, it'll come out in DVD home box office, and that's the time to send it to your friends.
And that's not a surprise. You know that one's coming.
And it's a movie that can change things in a dramatic way, because a movie changes hearts. And I'm very proud of this film. I think it makes important points, and it's in some ways at the center of the election debate.
Well, I'm proud of all the work that you've done. I'm glad to be your friend now we're going on our second term. Hopefully, we won't have to make another Democrat-themed meeting to fight a presidential candidate. 2020 always seems to be. Let's go for another focus next time. Thanks for joining us, Dinesh.
Thank you.